Okie dokie then, my dude. Let's do the stats for 400 days. I already sent you the who left with Tavia and who didn't live with Tavia. It's pretty much the same as you, except my choices were a little different. And since you're listening to this video, I'm going to tell you what determines who goes with Tavia and who stays behind. First and foremost, I know you made a mistake with Vince, and you meant to choose you meant to shoot off Danny's foot, but it said shoot ankle, like shoot Justin's ankle or shoot Danny's ankle. I'm not sure what confused you there, but when it came down to Danny or Justin, I shot Justin's foot off because I didn't care for his attitude. I felt like Danny was like he was falsely accused, and I felt like he was being honest. So I decided to shoot Justin's foot off just because I kind of liked Danny and didn't want to hurt Danny. So that's what happened, and then that's also what happened. And as you can see from also what I sent you, Vince did not go with Tavia, and that's purely based on that one stat. If you had shot Danny's foot off and left with Justin, then Vince's mindset would have been a lot more different, and he would have been a lot more trusting of others. So that means he would have left with Tavia. So there's a little trivia for you. Vince going with Tavia or leaving with Tavia is based on that one decision. Shooting Justin's foot off, you go, you stay at the camp. You shoot Danny's foot off, you go with Tavia. There you go. He's also day 2 in the apocalypse, in the outbreak, so everything was still up and running at this point, but it fell pretty fast, as you can tell. Moving on. This choice, Wyatt story, 41 days in, about a month and a half in, or excuse me, yeah, 41 days. So I would say, yeah, about a month and a week, maybe a little bit more than that. So about a month and a half later, this is completely random, bro. If you play rock paper scissors with Eddie, it's random, and if you lose, you have to get out of the car and investigate. And if Wyatt does that, he does not leave with Tavia. If Wyatt stays in the car, which means if he wins rock paper scissors, or if he doesn't play at all, like if he just completely refuses to play, and Eddie goes out there, Wyatt will leave with Tavia. And why, you ask? Well, you have to go back and find out. But it's completely random, so it's kind of hard to lose at rock, paper, scissors. I've only done it a couple of times, but it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it. So, but we did the same thing. So let's move on. Stay or go? We stayed. And when it comes to Russell, he was 184 days in, so 6 months, so about a 4.5 month time jump. Leaving Nate is solely based on if you don't draw on him at all during the firefight, and if you, like, at the last dialogue when he says, "What do you say, Russ? Should we just kill these folks and take all their stuff?" and he gives her that look. If you say nothing or say, "Yeah, sure, I guess," the scene plays out very differently, and you stay with Nate. And it's a very, very eerie dialogue. So watch my version if you want to see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say. And if you said, "Are you fucking serious?" or "That's it, I'm out," or "I'm gone," then you leave with Nate. And as you can see, only a quarter of players stay with Nate. And I was like, fuck it, why not? And when it comes to Russell, I'm not sure if it's because I think it's because you chose certain dialogue options as Tavia, and that's why Russell didn't come with you, because I stayed with Nate, and I automatically didn't go with Tavia because of that. And I'm not sure what gets Russell to really actually come with you. I think if you say there's like people of all ages there, or you may find people you know, that persuades Russell to come with you. Not 100% sure on that, but it's a little relevance. I mean, pretty much, you know, if you leave, you leave. If you stay, you stay. I mean, you didn't force anyone to stay or force anyone to go. So that's that. The reason why I stayed with Nate was because I thought it would be safer to be with someone like him than to be on my own. And as long as I got on his good side and everything, I thought I would be all right. But obviously, he wasn't nowhere to be found with the group, and he also knows Wyatt. So, possibly. So a lot of variations there. And then the fourth one, Bonnie. Now you played her first, which is fine, but hers chronologically goes fourth in the sequence, 220 days. So that's 7 months. So about 1 month after Russell's. So that's where her storyline fits in. So apparently she was a junkie or a crack whore, and Leland and Dee found her, and then that's when you pick it up. And then the group that Dee stole the bag from was Shell's group. That's why it was kind of important to play one before the other, so you would get the full story. So a little fun trivia there. And yeah, of course, Nate was the guy chasing Wyatt and Eddie. Absolutely. And Wyatt and Eddie did hit a guy. They hit the cop who bailed on Vince and Danny and Justin. They're all interconnected, and that's why I love the fact when you were like, oh, they all met up with each other. Yeah, they did, bro. And it was all interconnected, and they were all alluring to the main series, like how Vince was like running past the drugstore. That was Lee's family's drugstore, same drugstore. So they were close by. But anyway, I was honest with Leland. I said, hey, I fucked her up. I fucked up her face, man. I fucked up her face, But that's what happened. And I didn't really care about them, so I left them. So that was Bonnie. And then Shell's story happened about 2 weeks later. 7 months after the outbreak, so they're way in there. I did what you did, man. I killed the guy, and in doing so, that saved Boyd. Because if you had let him go, he would have came back during the time jump and killed Boyd, and it would have been a very different outcome. And yeah, that cancer group was the cancer group that that Lee encountered, and their dialogue is very different based on what happened in episode 4 and 5. You see, I threatened Lee. I threatened Vernon. So Clyde was all about, I can't believe that guy Lee threatened us like that. If that guy Lee had told me I didn't have the balls to shoot him, I'd have shot that fucker on the spot. And I was like, ooh, interesting. And for yours, since you didn't lie or threaten to Vernon, Boyd was like, Vernon and the boat were the reason why the group fell apart. And then, since you left Krista and Omi to guard the boat, they talked about jumping that couple. And if, in my version, there was no one there, and they just grabbed it, and they left a note behind. That's how we found out it was Vernon's group. But I take some small comfort in knowing that in doing so, Vernon was killed. Because if you listen to Joyce, the silver-haired bitch, talk about, we lost Bree, and then Vernon with a goddamn boat. So apparently, during some point, they tried to get the boat on the water, and in doing so, Vernon was killed. So, confirmed fate, Vernon is dead. That fucker who tried to take Clementine away from you in the house, and the guy who was like an asshole, that fake doctor, he's dead. So, that's good. And you and I did the same thing. We killed Stephanie. And this choice alone determines if Shell or Becca go with Tavia or not. If you kill Stephanie, they stay at the camp. If you drive away, they go with Tavia because they're afraid Rowan's going to follow them. However, you saw in season 2, episode 1, that Rowan's not even a problem anymore because someone dealt with him. But that's in episode 2. Season 2, episode 1. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. So that's 400 days, and that's how you get them to go with Tavia. But all I can think of, bro, is that what if that group is not good? What if that's a bad group? So, and out of our group, minority, 2 out of 5. So that's like a D or an F, I think. So it's like 3 of them stayed behind, and only Bonnie and Wyatt went with Tavia. Now, I remember that you said you wanted to know more about Tavia and uh, was it Russell and Shell, maybe? And you said you didn't care about Vince and Bonnie. Well, we're gonna see if any of those elements play out in season 2, because obviously you played it for a reason. So we'll see what happens. But the game did take into account the 400 Days episode, so what does that tell you? These choices do matter in some way or another. In what way? Who knows? But we're gonna find out. So that anyway, that's 400 Days. I'm gonna move on to season 2, episode 1 choices, because not much to talk about here again. There's not gonna be much to talk about on the next one, but this is all for you. All right. I'm out here. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.